What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, in a massive repudiation of the past 4 years, this November, we elected Donald Trump to become president of the United States. And in a massive shift in this country, a massive shift to the right. Massive shift to the right. We retained control of the House. As a matter of fact, we gained control of the Senate, and we got back the White House. We've got all three branches, we've got all three branches, as a matter of fact, because we've got a conservative majority on the Supreme Court. I can't stand that, by the way, but, we've got the legislative body and the executive branch. I'll put it that way. And it's just, once again, a massive repudiation of the past 4 years. People were done with Joe Biden. Like, I imagine there's at least millions of people in this country that regret voting for Joe Biden. Outright just regret it. Like, holy crap, we thought he was going to be better than this. And no, he come in and he just immediately commits to destroying this country. Just outright. It's like the power went straight to his freaking head. Of course, what do you expect? You get a guy that's pretty much been his only job for his entire life as a senator. For crying out loud. I mean, he's been a senator since he was in his 20s. The guy's 82 now. So, yeah, he's been in politics his entire life, federal politics his entire life. So he gets in there and he just lets it go to his head, it seems like, because we get lawfare coming from all over the place. Just don't care about law and order in this country because he's arresting and prosecuting peaceful protesters, for crying out loud. He just starts making all these ridiculous policies that damage this country outright, opens our freaking southern border, says he doesn't care about your cities. Let it be destroyed. Yeah, let it be destroyed. Because he knew that would happen. You can go back and look at speeches from Joe Biden from the early 2000s even. Right? Joe Biden saying, unmitigated immigration will destroy cities. It will turn them to dust. Verbatim. That's what he said. Unmitigated illegal immigration will turn your cities to dust. That was a quote directly from Joe Biden from the 90s, as a matter of fact. So he knew what would happen. And he did all this to appease the far left. And it did. Not for long, though, because, once this war in Gaza started, then we have a whole host of issues. Because now he's having to deal with, maintaining our alliance with Israel and appeasing the far left, who have gone absolutely insane with their woke ideology garbage, right? Getting on the side of Hamas. It was just absurd. And then, right, he thinks he's going to get elected again. Starts comes up with this term, Bidenomics. Y'all smash that like button, by the way. Subscribe to this channel if you would. I would greatly appreciate that. And share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. But let's get into this thing right quick. Check this out, y'all. This is funny. This is a hilarious article. Biden defends economic record. Says Trump plans threaten growth. Right. Now, we don't care what you say anymore, Joe Biden. You got out there and you lied to us about the job numbers. You lied to us about the border. You lied to us about Ukraine. You lied to us about Gaza. You lied to us about just about everything. Right? And when you tried to do something for the little guy, hey, let's pay off their student loan debt. Supreme Court said no. What did you say? Don't know. Don't care. I'm doing it anyway. And then he wants to tell you, after destroying our economy, wants to tell you that, hey, I know you're having a tough time, but, our economy's fine, man. It blows my mind that this man, just the ineptitude is beyond belief. President Joe Biden warned that Republican Donald Trump's plans to extend tax cuts and reshape global trade through tariffs risks reversing economic gains, even as dissatisfaction with his own handling of the economy contributed to last month's stinging electoral loss. Yes, he actually said that. Right? These same tax cuts have been in place since 2017. So how could that make things any worse? Don't know. How could tariffs make anything any worse when he's talking about getting rid of taxes on tips, getting rid of taxes on overtime, getting rid of taxes in general, right? Getting rid of income tax. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. Not honestly, at this point, I don't think that's such a good idea. We've got way too much discretionary spending in this country. Way too much. Biden, speaking at an event Tuesday at the Brookings Institution, sought to reverse perceptions of his economic performance, arguing his policies had worked to help Americans recover from the shocks of the COVID-19 pandemic. No, Donald Trump did that, as a matter of fact. He handed over an economy that was well on its way to getting back to where it was at. And what did you do, Joe Biden? You came in and you started changing up all kinds of garbage, just increased spending. You doubled government spending. You doubled the deficit. I ain't gonna say doubled the government spending, but he doubled the discretionary spending, as a matter of fact, because our deficit, which pretty much the discretionary spending is our deficit, he doubled that from $984 billion, which was the last year under Trump, to $1.5 trillion, and then at the end of his term, it is now at 1.8. That is right. And that's adjusted for his student loan debt relief plan that would have pushed it to 2.1 if that would have went through. His original plan, $2.1 trillion deficit spending. That is absurd, folks. That is outright absurd. The Supreme Court saved us a little bit on that one, at least. Most economists, you like how they say most, agree the new administration is going to inherit a fairly strong economy, at least at the moment, Biden said in an address at the think tank in Washington. It is my profound hope that the new administration will preserve and build on this progress. He most definitely will. As a matter of fact, he's going to make America great again. Hopefully. I'll throw that caveat in there. Hopefully. That's unlikely after Trump vowed dramatic change to the economic policy on the campaign trail, helping propel his return to the White House and Republican control of both chambers of Congress. The defeat of Vice President Kamala Harris, who entered the race with just months before Election Day. Oh, you love that air of excuse. just before Election Day. It was 3 months, by the way. You know, presidential campaigns used to be just totally 3 months a long time ago. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. After Biden stepped aside, underscored dissatisfaction with his post-pandemic tenure among the electorate. Yeah, because he just dropped the freaking ball. That's why. Still, the president argued that his policies have planted the seed that will grow the economy in a way that bolsters working and middle-class families, and warned that those gains could be imperiled if Trump enacts tax cuts for the wealthy, cuts entitlement program spending, rolls back investments in infrastructure, and levies fresh tariffs. Hang on just a second, Joe Biden. You have, in fact, destroyed the middle class in this country. So what are you talking about there, Joe Biden? Rolling back entitlement programs. How is that going to damage the middle class, by the way? It's not. It's only going to decrease government spending, which we're spending in a deficit right now of $1.8 trillion. Okay, so we need to make some massive adjustments to our economic policy. But these people don't seem to get that. Let's just keep spending our way into oblivion, right? Our interest payments on our debt are currently rivaling our national defense budget, which is almost $1 trillion. That's just the interest payments. But these people, they don't seem to ever mention that. He also warned that a retreat from free trade policies threatened to allow adversaries to take a greater role shaping the world. Right? These people think it's okay for U.S.-based companies to pay tariffs abroad to smaller nations, but it's not okay for them to pay tariffs to import their goods into the United States. Yeah, that's totally unfair. I think if you want to implement tariffs on our goods, which are few and far in between, then hey, likewise. I believe this approach is a major mistake, Biden said. You know what? It worked the freaking first time, Joe Biden, and whatever you're doing is not freaking working. So, I'm not going to trust what you're saying here. I'm going to put it that way. If we do not lead the world, who does? He added. Who says we're not going to lead the world, right? This is, once again, it's like a red herring. Just, if he does this, we're not going to be the world leaders. Makes no sense whatsoever. It's meant to throw you off the trail, in other words. Just bogus. I can't stand Joe Biden. The lies that come out of his mouth are just an unmitigated disaster when you think about them. Biden jabbed at Trump over many of the Republicans' first-term policies, saying that tax cuts he implemented had benefited the wealthy. You know what? They benefited everybody. Yes, they benefited the wealthy, but they also benefited the less wealthy, the middle class, and the poor people. Benefited the wealthy, and seeking to draw a contrast with his own agenda, touting measures to help expand access to health insurance and a push to expand the child tax credit. Yeah, but you didn't, did you? You pushed to do that, but you didn't. The previous administration, quite frankly, had no real plan to get us through one of the toughest periods in our nation's history, Biden said, referring to the COVID-19 pandemic. You got to love this. That's a non sequitur. God, I hate this guy. Who would have had a plan for COVID-19? Joe Biden is coming in acting like he would have done so much better, right? But he comes in just at the very, very end of this thing and just drops the ball. The economy just crashes. 9-10 months after he comes into office, the economy just, boom, destroyed. Then he's trying to implement, then he increases spending, then he's trying to implement vaccine mandates through OSHA, for crying out loud. That's one of the most absurd actions a president has ever taken, outside of Obama killing American citizens. But, that's neither here nor there. Wow. Joe Biden. Focus on legacy. Here we go, y'all. Tuesday's event had the tone of a valedictory address, as Biden spoke to a largely friendly audience of economists, consumer advocates, and business and labor leaders. But Biden acknowledged that outside the room, many remained wary of his handling of the economy. Sorry about those little slip-ups, y'all. Got cross-eyed there for a second. I know it's been hard for many Americans to see, and I understand it, Biden said. Biden cited 16 million new jobs, the lowest average unemployment rate of any administration in the last 50 years, 20 million applications for new businesses, and a stock market at record highs to defend his economic playbook. Ever heard of a bubble, anybody? Yeah, you know what? They also lied about those 16 million new jobs. That's not the revised numbers. The revised numbers were down by over 1 million jobs. Let's see. Unemployment has been rising for the past 3 months. It's not looking good. The jobs report was abysmal. Let's see. What else? The lowest average unemployment rate. Yeah, you gotta love these people. The lowest average unemployment rate. Mm-hmm. Sure. 401ks are up more than $1 trillion in private sector investment in clean energy, right? That is doing absolutely nothing. That's wasted money, as a matter of fact. I can't stand Joe Biden sometimes. And advanced manufacturing in just 2 years alone. After decades of sending jobs overseas for the cheapest labor possible, companies are coming back to America. Once again, now he's starting to tout Donald Trump's presidency. Investing and building here and creating jobs here in America, Biden said. Once again, started under Trump. And he said that inflation, which fueled much of the public angst over his economic agenda, was coming down faster than almost anywhere in the world. So what? It rose all over the world, but you know what? There was a supply chain issue because you idiots shut the freaking economy down. You are the cause for this. These people. But also evident was a sense of frustration from Biden that his record had not been celebrated. Yeah, you wonder why that is. You'll wonder why when, oh, hang on, the stock market's doing great, y'all. When you tell that to average everyday folks whose wages have stagnated. Yeah, that pisses people off, as a matter of fact. And you wonder why I'm a little bit animated right now. Yeah, that's because I'm one of those freaking people. Right? I've gotten a 0.6% raise in the past 4 years. Yeah, 0.6%. That is nowhere near the inflation that we experienced, which is on average, 25% higher? Prices 25% higher? That's insane. Over a 4-year period. Over a 4-year period. 25%. So I'm making a lot less money than I was 4 years ago when it comes to, purchasing power or whatever. It's insane. These people. And they wonder why, Democrats got booted all across the country. I also learned something from Donald Trump. He signed checks for people, Biden said, and I didn't. No, that's not true. That is not true. You signed a blank check to Congress, essentially. Well, they signed the blank check, as a matter of fact. But you increased the deficit by 100%, Joe Biden. This guy here, I swear, sending hundreds of billions of dollars. Yeah, hundreds of billions. Overseas to fund war. Absurd. Absurd. Outright absurd. And then, because we're in a replacement crisis, you open the freaking floodgates on our southern border, allowing people to come in from all over the freaking world. Right? Not realizing realizing what that's going to do to local populations. It's going to strain resources. It's going to take supply out of the equation, and there's going to be a high demand, causing prices to go up even further. At a time when inflation was already high, prices are already high. It's just absurd what Joe Biden has done to this country. Not to mention all the other stuff, right? Oh, and here we go. Now they want to get into Trump's plans. Trump has vowed to undo many of the hallmark policies of Biden's tenure, including elements of the Inflation Reduction Act, which didn't reduce inflation. As a matter of fact, that was a climate agenda bill. That's all that did. Wind farms and solar panel subsidies and green energy subsidies, electric subsidies, which, by the way, they haven't done anything with, and they've spent billions on this stuff. It's absurd. Wanting to tout all this stuff. Yeah, you should be running full speed away from this stuff. But no, they're just sucking right up to it. A sweeping tax and climate package and the CHIPS and Science Act, which provides billions in incentives to bolster domestic chip manufacturing and reduce U.S. reliance on Asia. Yeah, good. Get rid of all of that. Most notably, Trump has said he would scrap an electric vehicle tax credit, part of a Biden push to transition the U.S. to cleaner energy that fueled anxiety among blue-collar workers worried about its impacts on jobs. That is right. And you know what? Given the subsidies, right, the tax credit for the electric cars, electric car sales haven't really increased all that much. Yeah, sure, they're slowly increasing, but you don't see a significant bump in from the Inflation Reduction Act when that tax credit for the electric cars came into place. Sorry, I have trouble getting that out. But you didn't see a massive increase in electric car sales because of that subsidy. You didn't see it. It's only been tiny incremental increases. That's because electric cars are getting better and better and better. That's the only reason. People are still worried about buying electric cars because we don't have the freaking infrastructure, and Joe Biden dumped billions of dollars into that infrastructure, and they have nothing to show for it, folks. They've built 9 charging stations. Yeah, 9. That's it. That is it. Trump has also derided the CHIPS Act subsidies as a bad deal that is costing the U.S. billions. Republican lawmakers who will control both the U.S. House and Senate may look to claw back funding from laws Biden signed. Biden said the investments his administration backed had helped both Republican and Democratic states and predicted that GOP lawmakers would buck at efforts to undo projects in their communities. Yeah, and I hope they do. I hope they get rid of all this green garbage because it's nothing but wasting taxpayer dollars, right? It's, as a matter of fact, it's wasting money issued upon debt. It's just a giant waste, in my opinion. But hey, don't take it from me. Take that from the experts, as a matter of fact. But Joe, you gotta love Joe Biden coming out and trying to tout Bidenomics again, as if he's still on the campaign trail. He wants to secure his legacy. Yeah, well, you know what, Joe Biden? You've already secured your legacy. You will go down as the worst president in United States history. The worst, the absolute worst president ever. Ever. I just can't believe Joe Biden still has the energy to wake up every day knowing what he's done to this country. He knows exactly what he's done to this country. But yet, he's a politician. He's got to lie to everybody. He's got to come up there, put on a brave face, and try to say he did a good job. And then the corporate press and the mainstream news, they'll get out there and they'll back him right up. Why? Because, we can't let the opposition win. Can't let them win. We can't tell the truth to save our life. We can't let the American people know that Joe Biden sucks. But this is all just absurdities upon absurdities, if you ask me. But I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one, y'all. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Don't forget to smash that like button for me. Subscribe to this channel if you're new around here. I sure would appreciate that. And share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. That's the only way to help me grow, and I need y'all's help right now. So if y'all could do that for me, I would be greatly appreciative of that. And y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.